What's going on, it's boy JT, and welcome back to another episode of South Stand Signings. The show is, of course, we go through everything happening in and around the world, Leeds United, and today, there is a lot on the lips of Leeds United fans to be talking about in terms of transfers, and not all in a good way, and not all even in a bad way. There's just a lot of news surrounding the club, so let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get straight into the meat of the action, and the first one is surrounding a player who we spoke about yesterday, and I was a little bit concerned about the Wöber situation. Not concerned majorly, but I thought he was someone who impressed me while he was playing in the Premier League for Leeds, and I was a little bit surprised at the speed in which we got rid of him so quickly. But it has come to the surface that Daniel Farke has reportedly, keyword reportedly, this isn't coming out of his lips, but out of Austrian journalist Peter Linden, has pushed for his departure, stating that he was not happy with the mentality of Wöber. He didn't like the character and what he was showing. He had a really bad attitude problem, basically, which we all saw in the Championship. Now, I believed when we kicked on in the Premier League that it would be a different story because he'd be playing in a higher level of football. But then again, do you really want someone there who wasn't there in the bad times that wants to be there in the good times? Probably not. So I understand a little bit more now, and those reports really validate a lot of the feelings or thoughts I had surrounding the issue. Now, speaking of a pressing issue and one which Leeds are looking to resolve very, very quickly, it is our goalkeeping front. Now, Leeds United are closing in, reportedly, on a fourth summer signing amidst a 6'8" goalkeeper link, which is, of course, this guy, Vanja, Mlinkovic Savic. He is not the front runner that Leeds United are going for. That is, of course, Lyon's Lucas Perri. But there are several names being thrown around, of course, Yahia Fofana, and as I just said, Vanja Mlinkovic Savic, who had an amazing shapeshifters card a couple of years ago in central midfield. If any of you did used to play a bit of the old FUT back in the day. Again, Mlinkovic Savic, great height on him, but Lucas Perri does seem like the one that Leeds United are gearing for, and it seems like we're starting to pick up the pace a little bit on it. But again, could this be a smokescreen? Could it be a Mlinkovic Savic that we're trying to get done in the background? Because there has been a lot of talk about Lucas Perri, and the thing I've seen from Leeds recently, I mean, even in the Championship last summer a little bit, when we have been linked with someone a heck of a lot, we don't usually get them. A lot of the signings we get are people that are under the radar a little bit, and they swoop in last second. We saw it last year in the deadline day window where we were looking at so many of these names, Roland Salai, etc., etc., and then out of nowhere, in comes Tanaka on very short notice. There was a few links and stories building up to that, but he wasn't the one we were all looking out for. He wasn't the one that we were expecting the most out of, and he ended up kicking on very, very well. And then further on that, we went and signed a left-back who nobody had heard of, who now happens to be departing from the club as well, in Schmidt. So Leeds seem to be very, very silent, but it would be a little bit of a kick in the teeth, obviously, to Crystal Palace, who had the option to sign him for £3.9 million back in the day. But I think they're more than happy with how things have turned out for them. But let me know what you guys think. Are you still all in on Lucas Perri, or do you just want a goalkeeper in at this point? Do you just want someone in? Someone who we have spoken about an awful lot recently is Nikola Krstovic, who has responded to potential £30 million move. And this one is a little blow to Leeds United. Leeds United have shown interest in Krstovic for some time now. Farke fancies a move for the 25-year-old, who, of course, slotted 18 Serie A goals over the last 2 campaigns, including 11 last year. But apparently he doesn't appear keen on a move to Yorkshire this summer, with a move elsewhere in Italy preferred. Earlier in the year, it was reported that he wanted to join another Serie A side, having previous links to AC Milan and Roma. And he is very hopeful of getting one of those moves done. He wants to stay in Italian football, and I don't blame him, because if he's just starting to kick on, he's just starting to build himself over there, coming to the Premier League is going to have a lot of pressure on him. Yes, he will get financially compensated, but is he a little bit more interested in regular playing time and moving to a club who's already established in Europe? Probably, and it is a bit of a blow. But again, as I was just saying a minute ago, a lot of these names we seem to be linked with aren't the ones that we end up pulling the trigger on going forward. And it wasn't one that, you know, it's not a household name that's really going to blow your socks off. But it was one that was interesting and could have been a good gamble, but does look like it is on the back burners for now. Now, another one who looks like he's on the back burners, which would have been a lot more exciting, same story as the first one, is Douglas Luiz, who is reportedly uninterested in a Leeds United move this summer and is also looking to move across to another Serie A side, this time more of a sidestep or downstep for him to get more playing time because it hasn't really kicked on at Juventus in the way that he would have liked. So again, it's another blow that Leeds United are going to have to deal with. And speaking of blows, you've even got the Sunderland gaffer over here mugging us off about Diarra, saying he immediately connected with the values of Sunderland: strong spirit, high energy and leadership, which, you know, I think would kind of epitomise Leeds over the past couple of years. But hey ho, there you go, another one kicking us while we're down. But as I said before, these names just seem to keep popping up from the surface. And the latest one that we've been speaking about for a couple of days is Anton Stach, who's reported underrated. I wouldn't say underrated. I think he's rated rather adequately for what he is. But he is very experienced in the top flight of German football, playing 122 Bundesliga appearances. Is very, very good going forward. Is very good and comfortable on the ball, and is very good defensively. He's not exceptional in any of these. They show his interceptions, and they're comparing it to Noah Siddiqui, who's in the 55th percentile, the 64th percentile, 38th percentile. And if you look at these stats alone, you could be saying, all right, better player than Noah Siddiqui in these areas here. But of course, they've played in different leagues. They're at different points in their careers. Stach is a little bit more experienced, shall we say. You know, you look at the top flight of Bundesliga football, it is and has traditionally been one of the closer replications to the Premier League, in my opinion, as opposed to Spain, which is a little bit more tiki-taka in their play, and Italy, which is very much a lot more slow-paced than the French League, which recently, with the investment of PSG, etc., has trying to bridge the gap to the rest of the top five in terms of overall quality within the league, not the top few clubs that are competing in European football. So he's someone who's a little bit more experienced as well, and would actually be a very good move. He would be available for a fee of around £17 million, which is reasonable and, you know, would really help Tanaka, I believe, especially because Tanaka has had experience within the German Football League himself. So I think it could be a really good fit to have both Stach and Tanaka together in the midfield. But let me know what you guys think about this one. Are you keen on Stach? I know a lot of you have been writing in the comments about how you think he could actually be a better move than a Habib Diarra. Maybe not as much potential or a scope to grow or make as much money from it. But the Leeds really need that right now. We don't need to be a Moneyball club, because if we do establish ourselves in the Premier League for a couple of years, we'll get enough revenue because we are Leeds United. And that may be a little bit of an arrogant way of looking at it, but I feel like this could be a great move for Leeds United. They're ahead of many other Premier League clubs, being Leeds United at that time when it comes to the German-based talent. So it's not a surprise. It's not going to be a huge surprise if Leeds get him. And if there is going to be an English club, if he is going to move to England, I think you can bet good money on Leeds being that move. It's just a matter of whether he actually wants to go and take that jump across to another division, which, as we're seeing with some of our other targets, not a lot of them are keen to do that with a newly promoted side after what has happened the past 2 years to newly promoted sides. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below about all of these moves. For now, I will see you very, very soon. Au revoir, my brothers and my sisters.